Does
Yeah.
the general concept, would it address some of the shortcomings that are perceived in the H-1B process?
Yep. So the intention of this, and it's stated in the proclamation, is basically we're saying we want it to cost employers more to hire an H-1B worker than to hire a US worker. And this $100,000 fee should guarantee that's the case. And that may be true. But as I mentioned, there are a lot of different employers who would like to file for H-1B workers, and they're filing for workers at a lot of different stages of their career. And so any employer that's looking to hire an H-1B who would be covered by this fee now has to look at not just the cost of that employee, the salary and benefits that would ordinarily be the cost of any employee in that position, plus the costs associated with filing a petition on that behalf of that employee, which can be, a couple $1,000s in actual fees that go to USCIS, plus if you hire an attorney, attorney's fees, all of that, and now this $100,000. So that's going to cause a lot of companies to rethink whether or not they can hire an H-1B. If you're a company that sponsors thousands of them, if you're an Amazon or an Alphabet, maybe you have that money, and maybe you are still willing to file on behalf of many H-1B employees. Will you still file 1,000 petitions to get 100? Maybe not. Maybe that will change your calculus, but you might. But if you're that small startup, maybe you can. And then what happens? So this fee will have winners and losers, clearly. Will it result in more Americans being hired? That's a very open question, because there are other things that companies, particularly larger companies with overseas affiliates, could do to avoid this fee. One is there's a different visa called an L1 visa that allows someone who's employed overseas for an affiliate of your company to be transferred into the United States to work for you. And that doesn't have a cap, and so far doesn't have the fee. If you have that overseas affiliate, maybe instead of doing the work here where you have to sponsor an H-1B, you do that work someplace else and you hire that person there. That kind of offshoring is something that the president is trying to avoid. He wants people to hire here, but that is a reasonable business response to this kind of a fee that you could foresee happening. So in the long run, will this have the results the president wants? I think in the short run, it will create a lot of disruption, and it will certainly change who will be filing for H-1Bs. We will see, assuming the courts say that the president did have authority to do this and it all lasts, because there will be litigation. We'll see when we see the lottery filings in April, and that if the composition of who's filing, the number of filings changes, then we'll be able to see whether or not it's having the effect of reducing the number of foreign nationals coming in on H-1Bs. Will that result in increased hiring of American workers? Well, that's a difficult thing to see until we see the jobs numbers for some of these same occupations or some of these same industries, maybe a couple months later.